Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Smallville and one of the biggest failed crossovers in the show, and we also have another topic to talk about that I think you guys will find very interesting. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos later this year. Okay, so we are in February. We are going to be uploading lots this month. I'm going to be trying to upload daily because I really didn't upload enough in January, but we got lots of topics to go through over the course of the next week or so. But if you guys have any good topics that you want me to bring up and talk about in a video, please be sure to let me know down in the comments below. Plus, also, we're going to be starting live streams again very soon. So be on the lookout for that. Follow my community tab to stay up to date. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into today's main topics. These articles are coming from CBR. Links will be in the description below so you can go ahead and read them for yourself. The first article is titled 9 years later, Supernatural's failed Smallville crossover is still one of the CW's biggest fumbles. So I saw this online and I thought, okay, this is an interesting topic. Obviously Smallville is gone, it's in the past. However, we've been talking about it quite a lot recently, and some of these great articles have been popping up from like CBR, Screen Rant, because they've been going over some of Smallville's biggest moments in the past, and I just feel like this is a great time to bring it up whilst there's all the talk of the animated sequel to actually bring out some of the big things and the big deals of Smallville's past. So the article begins like this. In 2016, fans learned that there was a floating idea around the Supernatural writers' room for a Smallville crossover, so obviously in the past. So Supernatural and Smallville were arguably two of the network's most successful and beloved shows, running for 15 and 10 seasons respectively. The CW has gone on to host some of the most prolific crossover events in recent years, but they fumbled a great opportunity to combine the two fan favourite series. So this is very true. The context surrounding this obviously is those shows run roughly around the same time. Obviously Supernatural was a bit longer than Smallville, and they were, you know, in that same demographic. They kind of catered to the same type of CW audience. So having a potential crossover between the two shows would have worked, I feel like, but they are a little bit different from each other. But the CW has a great track record of making great crossovers, especially in the Arrowverse. So Smallville premiered in 2001 and followed the early life of Clark Kent, while Supernatural debuted a few years later as a more methodical series chronicling the adventures of the monster hunting brothers Sam and Dean Winchester. So Smallville's picturesque middle of America scenery with the warm tones and the golden hues doesn't seem like it would go with the dark and edgy fantasy world of Supernatural at first glance, but it could have been the network's best crossover yet. So what was the idea for the Smallville Supernatural crossover? So Jackson Stewart is a Tuscan-born writer and producer who worked as a production assistant and writer on Supernatural, and when he spoke to EW around 9 years ago promoting one of his films, he spilled the beans on the Smallville Supernatural crossover idea pitched in the writers' room. He said, and I quote, "There was a lot of really cool ideas that some of the writers had. They had an episode where they really wanted to do a Superman curse that was about every actor who plays Superman ends up getting killed. So they find out that Tom Welling from Smallville is next and have to save him. I thought that was one of the funniest ideas that I'd heard." So the Superman curse refers to an urban legend about the unfortunate events that befall those involved in Superman adaptations. It primarily refers to the death of George Reeves and Christopher Reeve. George Reeves portrayed Superman in The Adventures of Superman, which was a TV show, and then died a year later at the age of 45. And Christopher Reeve played the iconic superhero in 4 films between 1978 and 87, and he was famously paralyzed after being thrown from a horse in 1995. Now, I don't know if this is in bad faith. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but yeah, that sounds a bit iffy in my opinion. But Supernatural's idea was to make this myth a real curse in the show that the Winchester brothers would put to an end before it claimed the life of Smallville's Tom Welling. So I don't know if they would include multiple Supermans or it would just be Tom Welling Superman that you would see being affected by this potential curse in Supernatural, but I guess that's given their own spin on it, finding a way to involve Smallville in the ongoings of Supernatural and their kind of world, because as the article suggests, those two shows were quite different, even though they had a similar audience on the CW. So what would the Supernatural and Smallville crossover have looked like? While details are sparse on exactly what the Supernatural and Smallville crossover would have looked like, it isn't hard to imagine some possibilities. There were a couple of Supernatural episodes that delve into the world of film production and could provide some insight into the shenanigans the crossover may have entailed. Audiences will immediately think of the fan favourite episode titled The French Mistake, where the Winchesters had their first encounter with the entertainment industry in season 2 episode Hollywood Babylon. So basically what the article is trying to suggest is that in the way that the Hollywood Babylon episode kind of delved into the film industry and the fact that they kind of ended up on film sets, they thought it would be a good idea that potentially the Supernatural guys could invade and infiltrate the set of Smallville, so it's like a fourth wall breaking thing rather than just like the two shows directly crossing over. It would be the Supernatural characters actually crossing over, and you would see the set of Smallville and, you know, the actors and everything like that. So that would not necessarily be crossing over directly with the characters, it would be crossing over with the likes of Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum and people like that. And the meta episode from season 6, The French Mistake, sees the Winchesters sent to an alternate reality where they are actors named Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles, who only play Sam and Dean on TV. The episode featured tons of great cameos and poked fun at itself and the crew. The crossover could have seen Sam and Dean return to the alternate reality and pose as their alter egos to infiltrate the Smallville set. So yeah, they're really going for this idea. I don't know if this would have been good, if this would have been entertaining, but I think the idea of crossing over the two shows on its own is more than enough to get people excited if this were to be a reality, obviously in the past. But it didn't turn out to be, so they could have come up with lots of entertaining ways, but despite Jensen Ackles and a couple of the other people in the cast and crew being friendly with each other on the two different shows, nothing actually ended up happening. And the reason I bring it up in this video is I think it would have been a cool possibility, and it would have been the original crossover on the CW as far as I know. Obviously I haven't watched every single show on the CW, but the Arrowverse really kind of kicked things off in terms of crossovers on TV, and obviously this would have set a great precedent, but you know, the Arrowverse didn't need it in the end. So let's talk about the last topic of this video. The next article that we're going to be breaking down is called I Will Not Show Up, Why Tom Welling Refused to Film One Smallville Episode. So I want to talk about this because I just saw it online. I thought it was a cool article to go over why Tom Welling wouldn't show up in this one episode, why he refused to even think about this idea. And we all know that Tom Welling has his strong opinions, and he was pretty clear about the way that he liked things done, but he recently shared that there was one episode of the series that he refused to film, an episode in the show's 6th season that was originally planned to be a musical. So the revelation comes on the latest episode of Welling and Michael Rosenbaum's Talkville podcast, where the two actors rewatch the show and provide commentary for its fans. While rewatching Smallville season 6 episode 2, Welling provided context about the show's intended musical episode. He said, that episode was supposed to be a musical noir, he said. When they brought it up to me, I was literally like, I will not show up to work, you can film it, but ... So he was pretty clear, no, I don't like the idea of a musical in Smallville, I am not going to be showing up, even though you guys want to do it, you think it's a good idea to do a musical. But he says literally straight up, I will not show up to work. So the noir episode was the 20th episode of Smallville's 6th season. It sees Jimmy Olsen knocked unconscious and dreaming. He is a reporter for the Daily Planet in 1940. His dream involves Lana Lang asking him to solve her murder, believing her husband Lex was trying to have her killed. So it was a kind of dreamlike episode that was in the style of film noir, and it remains unclear exactly why the show's developers originally wanted to have the noir episode be a musical on top of its black and white dream sequences. Even without any musical numbers, noir was one of the more experimental episodes in the series, and it didn't resonate with the fan base as a whole because obviously it was quite different. And if it was a black and white episode that was in the style of film noir plus a musical, I think that would have been like even more controversial at the time, because I think even with just the episode alone, not everyone really gelled with the idea. So that pretty much does it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed the video and if you've enjoyed looking back at the past and some of the kind of controversial things or the things that we missed out on, including the crossover, please be sure to leave a like and a comment, and also subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. But for now, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.